Yeah, right. Instagram.
Yeah, the most like vapid and kind of like pointless social media, or so I thought, until suddenly Theorygram like set off, and then
Yeah,
suddenly all this is happening.
That was really weird. Like all of a sudden
Right.
it popped out of nowhere. Just like suddenly it was all over the place.
Wow, yeah. See, when did you guys okay, so one of you has like above 20K followers, I believe. Bodyless
Yeah, it's
Organs.
Bodyless, yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
when did you pass 20K? Like that's kind of crazy. For it being like this crazy niche kind of thing or whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
oh well, I pretty much I think it was like 2 years prior, because I've been around these little philosophy circles on Instagram for 3 years now, and then it's like a dramatic decrease. I used to be at 35, but then I got accused of being a crypto-fash, and then just went crazy. So yeah.
Hold up, so you were at 35,000?
Yeah, I was at 35 at my peak, 35, and I was
and
getting
then you
like
lost followers.
Yeah, I lost them. I was getting sponsorship emails from people and shit like that, and just overnight. Yeah.
See, I'm not that caught up with all this shit, so it's like kind of funny. Wow, what the fuck? Because like we lose followers all the time. We're always like wondering, like, is this normal? Like, we shed followers. It's fucking crazy. What about you, Dank? Fucking when did you pass 10K? That's a milestone.
Yeah, actually, I passed 10K a while ago. That's been the funny thing for me. So I've never lost followers really, but I hit 10K like a few months ago, and it just plateaued from there. So I've got like, I don't know, 12 or 13 now. I haven't checked, but yeah, it just hit 10K, and then it was like I get 2 followers a day kind of thing.
You think that's because of like Zuckerberg clamping down on quote unquote extremist material?
I mean, maybe. I also think that, I'm also friends with a lot of these people that have been falsely accused of being like crypto-fash or whatever.
Okay,
That's a big part of it, especially with the whole drama between BeyondWoke and I'm not going to pull names into it. But you guys know what's going on.
You can. I mean, fuck it. I mean, I think we're going to have to end up talking about it. So fuck, or whoever it is, everybody. Yeah, talk about everybody. Fuck them.
Right. Fuck 'em. I mean, essentially, for people that don't know, what continues to happen and what will continue to happen, because it's just like a law of nature, it seems like, is that there are real libby people who pose as like left ideologues, and pick up on a lot of these like signifiers, and then anyone that like ends up actually following through with any kind of transgressive or like far left politic or anything like that ends up getting accused of being something like a fascist, simply because of the fact that they're not like an id-pol liberal, right? Which is hilarious. It's extremely funny. And that, and like some of us like to read people that are kind of fucking edgy, and you should, like if you haven't read like Evola or Land or anything, then you're not able to comment on Evola or Land, right? Like, you got to do it.
And I think like, that's one of the worst parts about the fucking like the left right now is like fucking the book burning type fucking like, just like literally like trying to say you cannot read these people, you cannot post memes about these people, like we will literally get together in a community and call you fascists, call you names, and fuck your shit up just for fucking talking about certain people. Like, I don't think that's helpful at all to whatever leftist people, whatever kind of leftist political bullshit these people think they're on.
It's really ridiculous. Like, I don't put a whole lot of like credence into this whole like, oh god, cancel culture, leftist book burning kind of shit. Like, I think that's both overblown and ignored, at the same time. But really, I mean, it's like when you're dealing with a lot of these transgressive writers, number one, leftism should be transgressive. Like, it necessarily it needs to be. But also, if you're not gonna like pick up the signification and aesthetics and all of these potential ideological or methodological weapons that are being used by a lot of these authors, or by anyone. Like, if you're not willing to use a tool, it's just going to be tools that the far right uses. You know, like every weapon that you don't choose to pick up is something a fascist is going to pick up instead. And so, like, saying, oh, we can't touch those authors just says, okay, cool, you just gave it to the right wing. Very good job.
It's very much like a kind of like a school ground game. Like, everyone's in these little cliques, and like, you can't fuck with these people because they're X, Y, and Z and shit. It's very irritating and very I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it's just childish in my opinion. For sure.
It's childish, and it leads to you being weak and ineffective. Like, imagine going into like you walk into a bar fight, everyone's stabbing one another, and you're like, I'm beyond knives, you know?
Yeah, I'm above that.
Yeah, it's like, all right, dude, fine. Well, it looks like you're gonna get stabbed. Yeah, that's people like to take politics very, very seriously while not taking it seriously at all. Like, it's you know, it's the most important thing in the world is performing politics. But as soon as you have to do anything that's like icky or difficult or anything, people love to ignore it. And that doesn't just apply to actual, like, you know, action. It also applies to it applies to the performance itself, which is really, really funny.
Yeah, and it is, you know, it's funny too, like it is something to do with like kind of like clicks and little kind of like there's like these different, you know, think of it, I always like look back when I like read, when I'm like reading shit, you know, that happened in the 60s or in the 70s and shit about like, you know, like France and like the Marxists in France or whatever. Like, I'm always like, you know, you end up seeing there's always been like different kind of cliques and different kind of like you know, sections of different kind of ideologies or whatever. But the internet really like, I don't know if it intensifies this. So it's like,
it seems that way.
Yeah, right. And it's like subcultural capital, like subcultural fucking, you know, so many niche, what do they call it, you know, niche internet micro celebrities. Yeah, you know, like, you know, fucking like what you know, there's I think there's something about, you know, politics and this kind of like this kind of group, you know, grouping on the internet right now. But yeah, like the whole crypto-fascist thing and like Red Scare. But you know, listen, you know, Red Scare, they're like pretty popular. Like they have like girls that listen to them. Like they're super like libs. They have Black Lives Matter in their bio. You know what I mean? But they listen to Red Scare, or like they probably don't even listen to them. They just like post their merch or whatever, like, you know, like wearing their shit. But you know, Red Scare is kind of came to like a level in society where like you know, I'll see kind of like more normie type girls, you know about Red Scare and shit now. But yeah, like, what was the whole deal at Beyond Woke and Moma PS5 and the whole crypto-fascist thing? What do you guys think?
I don't even know, man. Like,
it's really, really complicated.
Right. I mean, all I know is that, like, I've been friends with Moma, or not Moma, sorry. Who's who? Crazy. With Beyond Woke for a long time, or at least like in internet terms, a long time. So like a couple of years. And he's always been great. Like, he's someone that I talk to about leftist politics with some frequency, and you know, he's extremely smart and knows what he's talking about. And yeah, so I don't know. I've always really enjoyed him, and I've never. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to believe that this guy's a fascist. But then apparently some people end up looking at his stuff, and I think there was something else that set this off. Like, this didn't happen organically, but someone ended up seeing him post about like Ebola or Mishima or something, and then suddenly it's like, this motherfucker he's a straight up Nazi. And it's like,
was it
no,
like, I think he posted Dugin or some shit?
Oh yeah, he does that all the time too.
He does.
No, but was that the thing that fucking set it off? That was like Moma PS5 was like on a story like, oh man, if you're posting Dugin like Beyond Woke and the Irony Bros.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
Okay,
it was like
yeah.
it was a whole reaction against this whole fascist posturing, you know. Because like, I don't know, because same thing will happen with like Bronze Age Pervert and like the Red Scare girls reading Bronze Age Pervert. They're like, you guys are what's the word they use? Is it platforming?
Red Brown Alliance?
Right.
Something like that.
I don't know. Some platforming.
Yeah, because like you're platforming someone. You're like, it's like what, like, remember back in the day when all those college kids were protesting Jordan Peterson, saying that you're platforming like a fascist or something like that.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing that was happening with Beyond Woke and Problematic. They think that just because he's sharing like their opinions, or like he uses their frameworks, all of a sudden he's a crypto-fash. And then it's just it was all over Twitter as well. I'm not really sure if you guys are on Twitter, but yeah, it played out there as well. Really, really weird.
I avoid Twitter as much as I can, honestly. Like I post there occasionally when I'm like, shit, this is a meme in my head, but I can't put it on a picture somehow. So I go lazy and I just post it on Twitter, but otherwise I leave it alone. That place is scary to me.
Well, I mean, I think Instagram is fucking scary too. Like, at least
they're all
Twitter is
awful.
like, Twitter feels like I can breathe on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I can like look and kind of just like be like, because that's why I don't really post on there. But like on Instagram, I don't know. Instagram feels like so closed, like insular. I can't like everybody fucking knows everybody. Like, like I don't like, it's fucking weird.
For sure. But
especially in theorygram.
Yeah, right.
Well, because like that exploded so quickly back in like early mid 2020, right? It just suddenly, I mean, when I came into it, it was pretty much me and a couple larger pages, like larger at that point, which I think was like 3,000 to 5,000 people. And we were kind of talking, and I know there was like other little philosophy, stuff going on in the other edges of it, but this is all I really knew about. And it was a place for me to post things so my friends would stop being irritated with me, because I used to just post on main all the time, where it's just like, oh man, incomprehensible Deleuze talk. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Shut up, Dorian. I'm like, fine, I'll put it over here, because like I'm on the spectrum enough that I need to make these things. And so I'm like making them for an audience of 0, and then suddenly it like just blew up.
No shit.
And I think a big part of it was just that everyone was in lockdown.
Right.
But yeah, it just exploded out of nowhere, and then it was like, oh, I get like 1,000 followers a month now. Yeah, and then it plateaued in that weird way, which I do think, I think it's both this like hystericism around Red Brown Alliance stuff, and like me is something closer to like a ANCOM or something at the very least. So in this very different space, but still think like Dugan is hilarious. But yeah, I think it was a mix of that, and I think Zuck is definitely like clamping down. Yeah. Social media is bad, guys.
Yeah, it really is. The same thing happened on Twitter last year with like accelerationism Twitter and theory. Yeah, it was crazy. Everyone was reading Land. It's mostly just a bunch of teenagers just quoting Fang Nomina.
Oh yeah, I had a bunch of people. If you look up like Nick Land on Google searches,
and they they post those quotes and shit.
Skyrocketed.
That rules. I love the idea of like a bunch of greasy like 15 quoting Land in their like high school like social studies class.
Isn't that fucking hilarious?
That's mostly what it is. It's like a bunch of 4chan RPGs.
Are some of these kids really 15 on here?
Some of them are actually 15.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's weird because Theorygram seems to be split pretty neat down the middle, where it's either people in like their late 20s and above, or people who are like teenagers.
Yeah,
and then
right.
There's like a healthy medium, a little bit, but that seems to be pretty thin. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People that are into philosophy or politics in general, you would think that they're like you know, older, you know, or just like it's not like a young, the idea of it isn't like, you know, like, oh, TikTok brain, like Gen Z, like they're not going to be reading books or whatever, you know.
I mean, that said, like, what do you want more is like a edgy, you know, 15-year-old boy than to like be seen as smart and transgressive and like kind of scary in like in a way. I mean, maybe that's coming from me because I was like a goth kid Nietzschean, but like if I knew about Nick Land when I was that age, like I would be all about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have
posturing
like
is very
a
cool.
tattoo at this point. Yeah, the posturing is super cool. But yeah, so I'm not surprised by this at all, even though it is like it's fucking weird.
Because grad students can't make memes, so that's why it's like the domain of children at this point. You're not gonna get like PhD in bio people making crazy philosophy memes, and if they do, they kind of suck.
I started
exactly.
my meme account when I was working on my master's.
Okay, wow, that's perhaps like
I'm a rarity.
Maybe that's why you have longevity. You're like 1 in a million.
But to be fair, I think that like the only reason that was possible for me, and this may be jerking myself off a bit, but it was simply because of the fact that I was so aggravated by grad school, right? That it was such a closed system. It was so gross. Like the type of thinking was so sterile and like unaggressive, but also aggressively unaggressive. That I was like, oh shit, I gotta go post about stuff that they won't let me write my thesis on. And then I wrote my thesis on it anyway, but yeah. Anti-academia,
like
academia.
Yeah, isn't that exactly what the whole Nick Land thing is about? Like what the whole reason why these kids are posting about it is because it's anti-academic in a sense.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I forgot the terms, but it's just
outsider academia, dark academia.
Yeah, it appeals to like self-taught people. So
yeah,
that's why. Because I experienced the same. Because I started my account like in the middle of my undergraduate, and I'm currently working through grad school right now, and you can tell a difference in the quality of stuff that's being posted. A lot of the times, it's just the same old memes that filter their way down from like 4chan and stuff. And you have the situation now where I guess everyone's kind of running out of content because they've used the same old jokes over and over again. So they're moving on to different things, I think. And that is a lack of creativity and no confidence whatsoever.
Do you remember the, I mean, it's still around, obviously, but it's transmuted for sure. But the, excuse me, like the fake gang explosion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. That was...
Yeah, what is that?
That was a dark period, man.
Yeah, kind of R-worded.
So, yeah, for sure. So the way that it started from my point of view was that we had fake Baudrillard. And fake Baudrillard made sense because that's the whole joke, is that he's a simulacrum of Baudrillard, right? Very funny, hilarious. And so it should have ended there. Like it should have just been that one joke. And then one guy made fake Nietzsche, and like he got relatively big. And then like a couple months pass, and suddenly everyone makes a fake this or that philosopher joke. And or not joke, but page. But the funny thing to me about it is that this all cascades off of them not understanding the fake Baudrillard joke. Like it has to be, because like what does fake Agamben mean? It doesn't. There's no joke.
What does fake mean?
Right. Oh god.
Yeah.
Don't talk about that guy on here. We'll talk about Moma PS5. We'll talk about Moma PS5 because one, he has like a significant following and he actually comes for me all the time. So it's like, okay, cool, we'll play that game. But
why waste your time,
dude? Such like a no one. He's like, don't even bring him up. Like he literally is like so nothing. Don't even acknowledge him. Don't even acknowledge him. He's obsessed with me, but oh my god.
Yeah, the whole fake gang thing, and there have been a couple that like in the end, well, I'm saying this, but I can't think of any. But there have been a couple I know that I saw their pages and I was like, okay, this is cool, this is fine. But they're so few and far between. And you know, I have to say it again. I have to say it for like the third or fourth time. The if you made a fake blank account, it's either because you were out of the loop and like popped into it, which is whatever, fine. Like, you don't have to be like an insider in this stupid online community.
Yeah.
Or you were an insider and you're illiterate enough that you didn't understand the original joke. It drives me crazy. I don't know why it pisses me off so much. Yeah, it's nuts. But
some
yeah,
of them really jumped the horse on that one.
They did. Yeah. I'm sure I don't know, there's some other fake account that would work, like with a similar, but then it's just doing the same joke again. See, that's the problem with memes too, right? Is that you can try your best to make a new joke, but one of the things about memes is that it's like this hilarious or not funny at all, like Deleuze-Quaterian difference in repetition joke, where all of them are different because they're the same, and they're all the same because they're different. It's just kind of
reference one another.
Right. They're slight transmutations of one another that are related and only funny because they are the same as one another. And like, that's how you make something based, right? You make something based because it is just similar enough to get the reference, but new enough that it somehow denies that reference.
You're breaking meme culture down to like an art form at this point, like
right.
Technically it is an art form, but you're articulating it better than most, I guess.
Yeah, well, so I got to pitch this, but with Foreign Object with a K, they brought on like Ray Brazzer and like all these different people, but they just do these little panels about philosophy, and they're on Instagram and they're on all the other shit. But I did a panel with them along with Deleuze and Dragons and Beyond Woke and God, there was one other person. I feel so bad that I forget who it was. No, it was just us. It was just us and the moderator. Okay. But it was about philosophy and memes. And we did that for 2 sessions. So it was like 6-7 hours of us talking about like the philosophy of memes. And so, which I hate, honestly. Like, I think memes are, obviously I make them a lot, but I don't like talking about them that much. But finally, we got to a point during that panel that I finally broke down a little bit and started taking it seriously and like really thinking through it. And so there's definitely something to be said there, and something to be picked apart that is really interesting. But also, maybe we should make less memes and do other stuff like writing. Or maybe reading. That would be a good idea for some people to do.
Oh my God.
That's a good point, yeah.
No one's reading. This is what my friend Perfume Jack was talking about. It's just like, dude.
Oh shit, you're friends with them? All right.
Oh yeah, we had them on like a few episodes ago.
Right, I recall hearing about this. Yeah, all right.
But
sorry.
Yeah, no, he's the shit, man, and fucking he is spot on about a lot of shit. And that was one thing, was just like, I think he was like, yeah, I could just tell by these people's tweets, like, these people are not reading. These people are not reading. Like, they're not using their fucking brain enough every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides scrolling. Like, working, right. Going to work, and fucking being on your phone at work, and then coming home and then sitting on Twitter or being on your phone or Instagram at home. Like, miserable existence.
Well, that's because reading is fucking boring.
It is fucking boring, honestly.
You can make a meme and post that and get some hoes in your DMs.
Get some hoes in your DMs.
Dude,
honestly,
yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you guys, is what's the meme process been lately, and I wanted to ask also, like, what do you guys feel about male leftists? Well, I mean, fucking male leftists, male fucking feminists, same thing. Male leftist feminists. People that try very hard to be like male feminist leftists, kind of like Moma PS5. He's really goes hard in that department sometimes. He's a good example.
Yeah, I mean, like, performative tryhards of like any breed just kind of suck. So I wouldn't even necessarily like say, oh, male leftists, those guys suck.
Not leftists, male feminists.
Sorry, male feminists. That's what I meant to say. I mean, either one, they both suck.
I know, yeah,
but,
right.
But like,
it's the same thing.
Yeah. But also, I'm older than most of Theorygram, I would say. Like, I'm in my early 30s. And so I'm coming from a space where it's just like, oh, okay, well, you know, when I was referring to myself as a feminist when I was growing up, like, I think that it kind of meant something else and was less performative. It was just like,
True.
Yeah.
you know, and so I don't really have any hard feelings towards anyone that's in that kind of space. And like, I do think that it's important to put focus into, you know, things like some form of feminism. Like, I think it's legitimate and interesting, and there's a lot of like great theory written around that.
Of course.
But I do think that, like, yeah, the whole try hard, hyper performative it bull stuff is pointless and a little repulsive. And like, yeah, it's really like a lot of people are just doing it to get laid. Like, that's obviously what's happening, and that's always been the case, right? Like, if in any kind of like activist group, there's always one guy that's there just for pussy, right?
Yeah, more power to them.
Yeah,
power to them. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's my take.
Well, you know, if you read Lacan, honestly, I think you start to realize that that's what all of this is about.
Oh yeah,
what all of fucking politics, all this shit is about. Like,
it all just boils down to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you read like Lacan and Kierkegaard like side by side, it's a weird thing, but honestly, I really enjoyed it. It was something that was really useful for this seminar that I teach. Shout out to my seminar, and I'll pitch it later. but yeah, it's reading Lacan and Kierkegaard back to back. Okay, I just got a warning up on the screen. But yeah,
remove the 40-minute time limit of your group me. What the fuck is that about?
Looks like someone paid to make this longer.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so anyway, Kierkegaard and Lacan side by side, and you realize that like everything kind of boils down, and of course it's way more complicated than this, as like I think two of us here are at least like nominally Deleuzians, but you see that it boils down to desire and despair, right? And that they both center on a confusion about what identity is, and so one of these parts of you is trying to predicate identity based upon past experiences, and is worried that you are too much a product of these experiences, on the kind of Lacanian side. And on the other side, there's this ultimate despair at knowing that you can never know yourself and that you will never have an identity. And so both sides of this kind of put you together. The only reason I bring this up is that those are like the two sides of like a young man desperately trying to get laid. And there you go.
That is fucking really fucking accurate. Yeah, I know. And Kierkegaard, I loved reading Kierkegaard. I like read it, maybe it was a while ago, maybe a few years ago, but and that's really interesting because I think when I was looking into Kierkegaard, it was also one of my heavy times where I was really heavily reading into Lacan. But I want to talk about my experience with Deleuze and Guattari real quick. I was really into them. Okay, so I get into like leftist fucking kind of theory shit. I'm all self-taught, so I get into all this shit on the internet, just fucking around, right? Like fucking 2016 or some shit. You know, when the Trump shit, you know, a lot of people kind of really got more into politics and more into just all the internet bullshit. 2016, you know, like fucking. If you guys have read Angela Nagle's book, Kill All Normies.
Yeah,
see, dude, that was a huge like. I think that came out 2017, 2018. 2017, yeah, holy fucking shit. That feels like ancient history, bro.
Right.
It feels like ancient history now. But anyway, fucking, what was I saying?
Everyone got into politics around that time, you were saying.
Yeah. And fucking just, like Angela Nagle's fuck Kill All Normies was like big for me, and just like fucking, so yeah, I'm getting into like Deleuze and Guattari and shit. Yeah, so I'm getting into the leftist bullshit, and then I'm like, and then sometime in like 2020 or whatever, I start to like get really disillusioned with politics in general, with Bernie Sanders and shit.
Right.
And I started to get disillusioned with all this leftist horseshit. Anything that was leftist, if any leftist was saying anything about Deleuze or like if any leftist, like anything leftists were talking about, I was like, this is all horseshit. So Deleuze and Guattari got thrown in there. And then I'm like, okay, hold up. Let me re-examine this. And this is recently, I guess. So this is in the last year. I'm like, hold up. I actually think Foucault and like Deleuze and Guattari could be read in a way that actually if they were, if you really read them a certain way, you'd actually realize like their opinions and shit is more, and shit they're talking about is more like, it would be, again, like it's super anti-leftist, if you know what I mean.
I mean,
some of us are still Marxists,
Yeah, it's a leftism that escapes politics in a lot of ways. And it's like it's important to note, I think, that even from like an explicitly Marxian space, that Deleuze and Guattari, or at least Deleuze, is like a pure metaphysician, right? Like we're talking about metaphysics, which innately can't necessarily be politicized until you put it into that Marxian lens, because the Marxian lens ends up bringing us into this whole kind of deterministic quality that comes with material. But if you choose not to subscribe to this Marxian kind of school of thought, then you can just read Deleuze's metaphysics, and it predates any kind of politics. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can use Deleuze.
That's a really good point.
Regardless of your politics, yeah. Which is why we have things like Landians.
Yeah, we have like Justin Murphy and based Deleuze, stuff like that. Yeah.
So I have not read that book yet.
I mean,
is it a book?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the reactionary leftism of Gilles Deleuze. Yeah. It was really popular again on accelerationist Twitter, as was a lot of Deleuze libertarian thought. But yeah, I guess it just speaks to the pragmatic element that is inherent in their entire framework, I guess, because it's always about from the ground up, rather from above coming down. You can apply that to anything, which is what makes it very problematic, I think, for a lot of people, because like if you can just go willy-nilly on some shit, then what's the value in it when you can just revert back to your whole orthodox traditions?
Exactly.
At least that's what I garnered from it.
For sure. Sorry, every time I think about Justin Murphy, I just get dragged back into thinking about his Bataille seminars. What did you think of those? Because I never watched them. I just saw him tweeting about it all the time, but I never actually got into it. Were they that bad? I mean, I never went to the seminars themselves, but the takes that I saw from him and people that did attend them, they were pretty fucking bad. Like Justin
Murphy has bad takes, I'll say that. Or I think I've seen him have a few pretty bad takes.
I mean, just like one like neat example is and on top of it is like $1,500 for this thing. Like, no.
Wait,
hold up, what?
Yeah.
Was it that? Fuck.
Yep. $1.5 grand for this seminar.
You have to spend $1,500. You have to give him $1,500 to attend his seminar.
Yeah, for him to tell you Bataille wrong.
I thought it was free on YouTube.
There may have been a free version or something, but no, look it up.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, yeah. I know that he gave out the syllabus for free and stuff, but yeah,
$1,500.
Yeah, but
that's pretty funny.
Nice. One of the takes that like I just can never stop thinking about is that he said that Bataille was unable to feel disgust. And that is like the most brainlet take on Bataille I can think of. And it's the first thought that you would have if you knew about like Bataille's Wikipedia page.
Okay, exactly.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Right.
On his Wikipedia level type shit.
Yeah, it's just like you know that you need to be able to feel things like disgust or pity or shame or things like, maybe not shame, but disgust, pity, ecstasy, agony, in order to have something like a limit experience, right? And so this idea, or like, he's not writing something like The Story of the Eye because it doesn't make him more disgust him. It's because it does. The entire point is that he has these affects. It's just, oh my God, it's mind blowing to me. But sorry, so every time Justin Murphy gets brought up, like I go into like a daze.
Go in fury.
No, yeah, that's great too, because I've been wanting to do like a real philosophy heavy, like, because I always feel like, goddamn, I've read all this philosophy over the last like 5 years, like for nothing. Like I'd rarely talk about philosophy, or like barely anybody knows me about being like a real philosophy person.
Right. I mean, I will say, and I'll pitch it right now because it's free if you want. But I do a seminar that's kind of focused on writing, but we do bring in theory each session every Saturday at 11 a.m. PST, and there's a requested donation, but you don't have to pay anything. And my takes are not as bad as Justin's.
I don't think it's possible for anyone to have bad takes.
We're gonna have a lot of people. I literally bet you're gonna have like literally a good handful of people that are gonna go.
Yeah,
DM me
DM me
just
at
from plug your shit,
yeah.
And then we'll have it in the description too. We'll have it in the description too.
Perfect. Yeah, just DM me at Dank Deleuze or go to patreon.com/TRUNCATA, Trincata. And like I said, like it's paid on there, but if you don't want to or can't afford to pay, just let me know and I'll set you up. It's fine. I have a day job. I don't care.
Yeah, how is what's the balance like with because you know people really say that, you know, it's a notorious thing that people try to really frame it as with being someone who has an Instagram account, a memer or whatever. I hate that term or whatever, but you know, I don't ever want to call anyone that slur, a memer, but fucking or a theorygrammer, but we all are, I guess, but they think that people are always like, oh, how do you have the time to run this page or whatever? Like, how do you guys deal with that? Are you guys on it a lot or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I go on. I work and I'm in school for pretty much most of my time. So like when I have a break in between, I just read through some of the. I just go online and I guess fuck around for a little bit. It's not that as time consuming as people make it out to be.
See,
sometimes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the times you can get swamped. You can get caught up in these.
You can definitely get caught up into it. And I will admit, I know a lot of these people that run these accounts, and yes, they are literally like 20-something-year-olds that, you know, they kind of, you know, I'm pretty sure their parents can really like, you know, like they kind of like, you know, they have time to really fuck around and like they don't have jobs or whatever. Like they kind of are just living off their parents, I'm pretty sure. Like, I really don't like a lot of these people. That's why I love when I meet cool people like y'all fucking just... or anyone I have on, like fucking, that's what I like to fucking about the thing is that, about the podcast is that it's a way to just fucking, you know, talk to fucking cool people.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any kind of subculture of nerds, right? Is that you have, generally speaking, it's a whole bunch of like people that you would never want to talk to and like don't bathe and are just unbearable to interact with. And
but very rarely you'll find some fucking cool people.
Yeah, because sadly, nerd shit is just really fucking fun. Like, reading is cool. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you're having difficulty reading, you should probably do it more and get into a habit of it. But if you don't enjoy reading, then you don't enjoy reading. Don't do it. I don't know. But no, yeah. You asked about like the meme making process, so I'm going to kind of like combine those two questions. But I mean, I work from home anyway, so it doesn't really preclude me from doing a whole lot of, you know, fucking around on Instagram. But it also doesn't take any time to make a meme, first off. Like, it's a 30-second thing.
Especially if you're good at it.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right, it takes fucking 30 seconds. If you're spending any longer than that, then quit making the meme.
Right. Like, occasionally I'll like make a masterpiece and it'll get like 100 likes and I'll be like, oh, why do I do this? But otherwise it's like I have this big old folder of like PNGs that I've made over time, and it's like, oh, I slapped a face on a picture and then I put some text, done. But like, yeah, it's not a time consuming thing, but also the process that I would suggest any theorygrammer do because worked for me is that you pick up a book. Sorry to keep harping on this, but I think it's important. You pick up a book,
sit down and read it,
and you read it. But the way that you make memes off of that is that as you understand or have questions about a concept, you make a meme about that, and then you keep reading. Done.
That's a valid point. But then, do you ever get like those one or two people who like word salad? There's like a very
I hate those people. God damn it.
They're like too many words, mucho texto, that type of shit is so annoying.
Yeah.
And it's are you unironically hating on intellectual inquiry, or is it, I'm not really sure how it works, but do you ever get that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. My DMs are a nightmare. It's
right.
It
hurts.
It's just a deluge of mucho texto, 9/11 memes and nudes. No one sends me.
Nice.
I mean, there
well,
are,
you know,
know, there
I
are
won't
the girls
confirm
that
or
are
deny.
into the fucking, the theory,
No, for sure.
philosopher guy shit, man. I mean, people would be surprised, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, another bit of advice to theory grammars and to people in general, because there's always like such weird drama around, like, you know, the internet is full of people that sexually harass people, you know, like, so what seems to be the best way to garner the attention of the opposite or the same sex, depending on what you're into, is to talk to them and listen to their ideas.
yes,
you know?
I was just talking about this 2 episodes ago. I was like giving because we were talking about, well, we're not going to get into what we were talking about. We were just talking about, we were talking about some drama shit, and I was like, okay, well, look, this is not how you go about it, fellas.
Yeah.
Like, I was giving them an example, like, of talking about, okay, look, do not do this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, internet poonhounds are fucking terrifying, man.
Dude.
It's really gross.
And it's like, that's another thing, too, is I always have to repeat, if she's not following you, do not message her. Yeah, leave her alone.
Yep.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone.
Yeah, but she liked one of my
memes. If she's following you, that's kind of an invitation to, like, okay, you can, like, hit her up, you know, but don't just straight up say, oh, can I suck on your titties?
Oh,
yeah, we gotta get back to him. Yeah, he's back.
Fuck.
Back. Oh, Moma, why?
Full circle.
That's so bad. Oh yeah, shit. Was that actually like a thing?
Yeah.
That was if I fly out to LA, can I suck on your titties? I think was the quote.
Jesus. See, I'm so out of the loop with these. I'm so out of the loop because I wouldn't exactly consider myself as part of that community, so I have no idea what's happening.
Man. I mean,
I
like
try
on the
not to either, but but like people know that like I'm friends with him, or that I used to be friends with him, and that he talks shit on me. So like I kind of, he's like blocking me from viewing his story. He's such a anyway. I don't want to get into that.
I think
much, but
I'm still mutuals at the moment. I'm not really sure how, but
no, we follow each other still. Like we still follow each other, but he just talks shit on me all the fucking time on his fucking story. You know, he blocks me, so I don't see it on his story. But
who knows? He might block all of us after.
But like,
no, he's gonna be talking so much shit on us about if he, if he finds out. He's like, these crypto-fascists are talking shit about me behind like that.
Yeah, I've literally never interacted with the man. Not once in my life have I ever interacted
he's came on my podcast before, but a while ago.
Oh yeah,
yeah, dude. It's on like fucking our YouTube. Like we haven't put it on like our like Apple podcast and everything. Like it's like an old YouTube one. Like when we very first started, we were kind of still figuring out like who the hosts were going to be and still fucking around. Like, yeah, we had Moma PS5 on and we talked about identity politics and how identity politics was bullshit. He came on and was like, oh yeah, identity politics is stupid, super cool, super base. And it's like, yeah, Moma PS5, dope. That's why I fuck with you. And then out of nowhere, because this was like during the Black Lives Matter shit, but then out of nowhere, as you guys probably know, he does the 180 or whatever, and fucking like just starts being an asshole to me and all my friends. I don't fucking know what the fuck. It was so weird.
It's just defense, right? Like people gang up on him and he, puts up his spikes.
I don't know why he comes for me. I never came for him or said anything about the motherfucker until he started talking about me. But fuck, what was I about to say? I was about to say something. Fuck. Oh yeah,
we were talking about sucking on titties.
Yeah, the sucking on titties. That's why we brought him up. Fucking. But anyway, bruh.
Oh God, yeah,
what a funny fucking bastard.
That's another one of the funny things, and we're gonna see this in like coming years, and we're already seeing it now. Like it's not really a prediction; it's just an observation. But you all of the same people that are really into the now cringe id poll stuff that everyone was in love with back in like 2015. You're going to see all these people all saying, id polls trash, all that shit now, while not believing it in any way, shape, or form, and they'll revert whenever they're, given the opportunity to. I mean, that's the disheartening thing about this is that people will say anything to agree with you, until enough people
do anything for clout.
Right, it's all for clout, exactly. Yeah, and it's exhausting, and I again don't put a whole lot of credence into the whole like cancel culture hysteria shit in either direction, but damn, it would be nice if we could just like fucking disagree with one another. Like disagreeing with someone's fun.
Yeah, right.
Right, and it doesn't have to be a fight either. It's just, you know, oh shit, you and I disagree about like fucking how deterritorialization works. Crazy. Let's chat about that. I don't know. It's not. My mind is constantly blown by this stuff, and it comes from a place where like, you know, this shit is serious, and it's serious enough to like get angry about quite a lot of it, right? I mean, that's what politics is. It's whatever we've deemed important enough to get angry about, but that shouldn't like stop the conversation either. Like, I don't know. I also like being angry, so I don't know, man. I'm just talking out of my ass at this point, but it's all very frustrating.
There's serious disagreements, like what the example you just mentioned. There was like this one poster on Twitter who was like posted something about land not considering deterritorialization, and then a huge Twitter storm broke up out of that. And then I managed to butt in at some point and saying, hey, this is what Mark Fisher said about land not considering deterritorialization, blah, blah, blah. And then I got blocked, and I thought it was a civil discussion, not like an actual thing for you to go out of your way to silence me. I think it's so weird because you can't really tell someone's tone from the other type. So
yeah.
And like I've definitely been on like because everyone has like on the defensive end where it's just like, oh, this guy's just he's saying some kind of criticism just to be a dick. And so yeah, it is always really difficult on the internet to like sort through that stuff. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's I try my hardest to just like allow people to like drag me into these conversations and like be generous with it, you know, like be willing to talk to someone if they want to talk to me. And like I'm constantly answering questions in my DMs that some of them are really nuanced and interesting. I am, and I shouldn't do it.
I'm answering slurs in my DMs at this point. It's bad,
dude. Yeah, I can imagine. And like I do get a lot of hate stuff sent in, of course, but that's I'm in this like awful loop all the time where I start answering someone's questions, and sometimes they're well-meaning, and it's like, oh, okay, great, now I've like made a little internet friend, and you know, I've maybe clarified some things, or maybe they've clarified some things for me that I wasn't like quite thinking through correctly, or they like offered me readings or something. It's awesome.
And I love that. It totally is. I talk so much shit on it, right? But it's totally fucking cool for like meeting cool people, like you totally like, but it's like fishing for fucking gold. Like you go through a lot of bullshit, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because I get so much of the shit on the opposite end where it's just like someone, oh God, I got some kind of message like, oh God, I don't even remember how long ago. It was like a week ago probably. And this guy just sends me a message on like a totally unrelated philosopher from like this old story post that I had on my page from like a year ago. and he sends this to me saying like, I'm starting to question if you've ever read Aristotle. And it's like, okay, cool. Wow. And I get shit like that all the time. It's like, bro, what?
It's like it's a dick measuring contest. Like, you've never read so and so and so. It's annoying.
And I'm gonna be honest. I have not read much Aristotle.
Yeah,
but who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
You know, it's really interesting the differences between your guys' accounts. Like Bodyless Organs, your account, it is I'm looking at it right now, and it's a lot more provocative, right? I would say.
Yeah, like, I started reading Paglia, and I'm like, I just
when did you start reading Paglia?
I started like I think it was around February this year. You know, I don't know. I think the girls mentioned the girls. It was on you know what I'm talking about. Anna and Dasha mentioned it, and I'm like,
Red Scare.
This Pogla person sounds interesting. So I picked up Sexual Persona, and then I went through that. Then I picked up Sex Art and American Culture, and I'm like, I could really start some shit if I just paste some of these quotes. And it pretty much took off.
Yeah. You know what? Because that's really, you know, like, okay, so yeah, so that's like what the linking thing here between you and like the Red Scare ideologically is Polia.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce her last name, man? How do you pronounce her name?
I pronounce it Poglia. Like the G is kind of soft.
Poglia, fucking
yeah.
Poglia, fucking,
or Poglia, whatever.
I had on Bimbo Ubermensch, and I like I tried. I don't really like okay, like I just have no idea how to pronounce this shit. Like I don't. No one in my real life. I only read these people's names. I never hear anyone in my real life like fucking pronounce them. So like I'm like, okay, so but anyway, I had like a whole we talked about her for like for like 10 minutes, but like I took all of it out because I just butchered her name so badly. I was just like, fuck this, I'm editing this out. Like no one knows that. But
that's fine.
But yeah, fucking Dank. Your account Dank Deleuze, it's you know, fucking it's a lot more it's a lot more like theory heavy fucking and it like, you know, people would say it's probably more niche.
Yeah, probably.
You know, like more fucking, you know, you have to be more into it to fucking
you could just say it's incomprehensible. I mean, yeah.
I get a lot of it.
No, yeah.
I mean, no, you can tell this is like someone knows this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the impression I get.
Oh, babies.
And you make all these yourself. You guys make you make all these yourself.
For sure, yeah.
Every single one.
Yeah, if I sometimes I'll make something with someone, but yeah, that's as non-OC as it gets.
That is actually, I will give you credit, man. I give people credit like that. If you can have an account where it's purely your own shit and you have fucking 14,000 fucking followers, I can give you credit for that. Like, goddamn, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, just people just like, because they're into like, okay, Tucker Carlson, fucking Curtis Yarvin. Like, what is it? Like, okay, like, follow. Like, okay.
Did you guys see that interview, by the way? And I will cheers you.
Oh my god,
it was so weird.
I have not got to watch it yet, but
I can send it to you. It's behind a paywall, but
okay. The Tucker Carlson Curtis Yarvin interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please send it to me.
Fucking wild. And like
it's boring, like a weird overlap, you know?
Yeah.
It's like how like people like White House staffers reading Bronze Age Mindset, and now all of a sudden you have fucking Moldbug on Tucker Carlson. It's so weird to find like when worlds align, but like it's crazy. It's like some kind of remnant of like the Trump administration.
Right.
That's what it seems to me.
See, Trump came in and just fucked shit up, dude, culturally. Just came in and just like meme shit went nuts, philosophy shit went nuts. Fucking Nick Land. See, I think Nick Land wouldn't be anything today if it wasn't for Trump. Like Trump, like
it certainly helped.
Yeah, it certainly helped. Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
have you ever read Sadie Plant Writing on Drugs?
Yeah, a while ago.
Dude, I fucking love that book, dude. I'm rereading it again, and I'm just like, whoa, like, I missed so much shit reading it the first time, and it's just so, like, I don't know, I fucking love it. I'm into all the whole CCRU, isn't, you know, Mark Fisher fucking, I used to be a lot more into Mark Fisher, but goddamn has he been appropriated in the gay fucking reading shit.
He kind of self-appropriated as well. Like he's kind of flaccid in a lot of ways, like to begin with, but it's so much worse.
He's not as divisive as his colleagues from the research unit. No, he's more tame, I think.
Oh, absolutely, and I do think to kind of link it back to writing on drugs. I mean, people do not I mean, they don't meme her enough for sure, but people don't give like Sadie Plant
Sadie
the
Plant
credit she deserves.
No,
You know?
not
Actually,
at all, dude. Good, yes.
What about for like the whole gender accelerationism thing? I'm pretty sure like did you read the black paper from Nick's Land? Sadie Plant is referenced in
I still
paper.
have not read the Gender Accelerationist Manifesto. This one
it's fine. You don't need that one.
Yeah.
You don't need to read that. It's fine.
People keep pushing it on me, and like, yeah, I feel like it should.
What's it about? What's this about?
Nick's Land.
Nick's Land? Is this a different fucking person than Nick Land?
Different thing.
NIX X? Is it 2 X's?
Yeah, NYX something.
Oh,
NYX,
okay.
NYX,
This is some person on Twitter that has like anime profile pictures or something.
I think so. I think she left Twitter, but because of like the hate she was getting. But yeah, she was very big, and then she wrote a paper on gender accelerationism.
Because I watched this little like this Nick Land, this fucking accelerationism shit happen or whatever. So like I read a little bit of like I used to follow them on Twitter. But I don't really know that much about it.
Well, it pretty much died down. Yeah, it pretty much died down. But yeah, like just to bring it back to Sadie Plant. Sadie Plant was mentioned in that paper a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So just in some circles she is, I guess, appreciated, but mostly generally left out of the picture. But like that's just generally the trend with women philosophers as it stands.
For sure. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still view her as like part of the CCRU Trinity, right?
Yeah, right.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's convenient how often she's left out with how extremely popular the other two are, at least to meme.
No, it definitely makes sense. Like a lot of the memes are Land, Fisher, maybe Reza, but it's mostly Land and Fisher. And maybe Code 9 a bit, but Code 9 also not as much. But
yeah,
not nearly. I mean, Mark Fisher, like, and I honestly think I am responsible for kind of the Mark Fisher boom, is what I call it.
Single-handedly.
I mean, I honestly, if I had like investment into that shit, if I was some kind of stock thing, I would literally be a goddamn millionaire right now. If it was some kind of NFT thing or whatever. But you know, the real OG people, they know that. The people that really have like watched shit go on, like, and have like kind of known about shit behind the scenes or whatever, real heady motherfuckers, like they know.
Didn't you do a whole thing with like Cinderella about Fisher?
Me and Josh Cinderella had a podcast together.
Yeah, didn't you talk about Fisher a lot in that? I remember I listened to that one. But...
like we talked about him in there, of course, but I used it as like a clickbait kind of title.
Okay, that's what's happening.
Mark
in my
Fisher,
head.
You know, and he's like big in the thumbnail or whatever. We talk about him for like 5 minutes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, thumbnails and titles are fucking mind viruses, man. They stick with you in a nasty way. Yeah, I mean, that's like such a brain fart, like shower thought thing to say, but it's
true though.
Yeah, like it's kind of scary that that's the part of the podcast that I remembered was just like the thumbnail you put up.
It's like the picture of Mark Fisher,
right?
Distance.
Didn't Cinderella have some kind of like falling from grace or something, or are people just tired with him? What happened with that?
Okay.
I don't follow.
We can get into that. We can get into that.
Sorry, Joshua.
Well, I used to be like, yeah, we were cool. Okay, well, first of all, he unfollows me at certain points of all this mess, right?
So nice.
I think he's always, I don't know. See, this is what I was like, I don't know if people like came to him and harassed him out of unfollowing me, or if he was just being like weird and like, oh, I don't want to follow him anymore. Or, like he's you know, or I don't know what he fucking is on or whatever. But yeah, we used to be cool. He's one of my first guests on my fucking podcast. He really helped me out. In certain ways, you know, putting me on and shit, like shouting me on Instagram and shit when I was first starting. So, you know, shout out to him, but fucking, okay. So yeah, people are calling him Joshua Cinderella. It's fucking hilarious.
Why? What's the joke there?
Okay. So have you seen his Guardian articles?
No, dude, I honestly, I have
try getting through one of them.
Yeah,
like the newest one. Try getting
that's the
halfway
feeling.
fucking through it. I'm really interested in your guys' take on these. Actually, we should have fucking. Well, I wasn't even thinking about that, but anyway, like I should have sent you guys this side shit, and you guys should like to read this a little bit, and then came and fucking like that'd been funny because this shit is interesting, and I'm interested in what you guys think about it. I mean, it's okay. So to summarize, okay, so neither one of you have read it.
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
so to summarize a little bit, yeah, he is like, okay, he's talking about like the fucking right and left bullshit on politics and memes or whatever, and it's like, from basically what people's criticisms, what I would say the summary is like he's like trying to exaggerate, because there's this exaggeration of how scary and how powerful the alt-right is on the internet or whatever. Like there's this crazy fascist force, and they're so a lot of people believe that this is kind of a fake like thing made by the neoliberal goons or whatever, the neoliberal elite or whatever. But he is doing the work for the elites, I guess, through Guardian. These are Guardian articles saying, oh, look at how bad all these, alt-right extremists are, with content. And, they call him Snitch, Joshua Snitch Cinderella, basically.
Gotcha.
He's basically like, okay, some idea of, a snitch, I guess, or, I guess the thing is like Guardian articles, it just looks real sus, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, with the Guardian, their amazing take on accelerationism. I mean, they seem like
Christ.
trustable.
Yeah, that was an article. It was worse than worse than the Vox article.
It was bad, man.
It was really bad.
And it sucks because it's still one of the first things that pops up on Google if you like look up accelerationism.
Let's see here.
But yeah, no, I mean, so I haven't really followed Cinderella at all. I just like, it's almost impossible to not see his face around. And the way that I've always thought of him from the little bit of exposure that I've had is that he's like the theory Bill Nye. Does that make sense?
He's like when you first get into politics or know who Mark Fisher is, or like when you first learn about the political compass, like the authoritarian, libertarian, left, right. When you first learn about this, okay, Joshua Cinderella is like right at the door for you, right there.
Right.
The first person you meet when you walk in the fucking haunted house of this horseshit.
Right. Yeah. The haunted house with all the like mechanized,
all these characters, all these theorygram characters, or whatever. He's the first guy you meet. He's level 1, right? he's like level 1, fucking like low power, fucking low energy boss.
I would love like a Halloween haunted house with like an animatronic Chiorin that just like pops up choking himself. That would be so good. Theorygram haunted house, when? Make it happen.
Yeah, GoFundMe. Get a GoFundMe going right now.
I know you were thinking about donating to that cancer survivor, but how about you donate to my haunted house for theory? It'll be really scary.
Yeah, I see this Vox article about the Guardian, the 2017 one.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Damn, this came out in 2017. Wow, what a trip.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 years have been fucking bizarre.
Yeah, Jesus
They've
fucking
been really
Christ.
Crazy, yeah.
Jesus H. Christ. Andy Beckett, what kind of fucking... Go ahead.
It's not. I mean, the Vox one came out in 2019, I think.
Was it?
And it was like about white supremacist killers going around like accelerating the collapse or some shit.
God damn it.
I don't know where they got this stuff from. It seems like they just Googled.
They got it from Facebook groups.
Dude, did they? I mean, I guess
Probably.
Who wrote that Siege book? That really weird.
Oh shit.
That I forgot the name. The Nazi thingy. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think they got it from that, and then probably scrolled through 4chan and saw what about, and probably read like Nick Land's Wikipedia at some point, and then boom.
Oh yeah.
James Mason, that's who it is. James Mason.
Okay.
Yeah. about something accelerating the collapse, and then yeah, here we are now.
God damn it, dude.
Well, okay, so listen, this is something interesting here. So,
Please.
Nick Land, you guys are fans of Nick Land.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here are these racist tweets of Nick Land right here. You know, what are you going to say? How are you going to defend these? Okay, so yeah, what is up with what's your guys' opinion about that? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if they're real. I just see these screenshots or I don't know.
They're real. They're very real.
Okay. Nick Land's a racist.
So he's a racist. Okay, just openly, just like, yeah, he's a racist.
Yeah, I mean, so there are two theories in my mind, right? Nick Land is a racist. Oh yeah, actually that's fair. 3 theories.
3 theories.
Yeah. And this is like Rocco's Basilisk or something. Number 2, he's just a fucking racist old guy. Or number 3 is that he's a genuine accelerationist, and this is him accelerating.
Oh, okay.
This is him as a Marxist posing as a right-wing racist weirdo, like hyper neoliberal, cosmic libertarian, as a way to accelerate. Which is the funniest option in my mind, but I don't think true. I think he's just a racist.
So yeah,
he also do
the
meth.
Racist most likely.
Yeah.
Oh, he used to do meth.
He used to do meth. What is that? Well, also, okay, so I see like little bits of pieces of Nick Land when I'm reading Writing on Drugs.
Yeah.
And which is so fucking dope, dude. Like the 90s fucking like drug fucking
computer. The cyber positive aspect of the writing.
It's badass. It's so fucking badass.
It really is, yeah.
Dude, I get like I wish I was fucking like around and like doing shit at that time, like thinking and shit about like I don't know. But anyway,
carving pneumograms into the wall.
He pretty much influenced this whole cluster of people online, like the esoteric shit posters who pretend to be schizos and shit like that. Like with all the crazy obscure writing and stuff.
He did meth is what my question.
Well, I guess like personal anecdotes. Right? Yeah, from his friends.
He would just write about it in his writing.
No, not really. I mean,
not in like Feng Newman or anything. But sorry, Arthur, what's up?
No, one of his like people that studied under him wrote about how he went crazy, and I don't know where actually the meth pipe meme came from. But
there's also
yeah.
I mean, Land. One of the things that he said that I think is notable was that like he no longer what exactly was the phrasing? Like he disowned all of the writing he did while he was under the grasp of the amphetamine god.
Oh my god!
So I mean, he's just said it, and which is funny because like all of his good stuff was from when he was meth, you know?
It's like Eminem, like the rapper Eminem. Like,
yeah, he was fucked up.
When he was fucked up, he was making good shit, and then when he gets sober, he becomes fucking cringe lord, fucking cringe town.
Yeah. Your academic and creative work is largely due to your own, like, individual neurochemistry. And so, if you're on drugs and making all your good stuff when that's happening, sorry, but that's the brain that's successful with it. Like, if you sober up, I mean, God bless anyone that wants to go sober. Yeah, you probably should. Yeah. But like, it's not going to be surprising if you end up quitting drugs and it's like, oh, my brain doesn't work the way it did before.
Yeah, I can't just stay up. I can stay up for 2 days writing and reading and just like sitting in my room doing nothing else but fucking like. I love it.
Land's early work is great. It's great. I mean, you read something like Con Capital and the Prohibition of Incest, and you realize that that's crazy stuff that he's writing, and then he comes out and says that it's pretty much bullshit years later. It's like, you did some great work, and now you're writing just weird. I mean, The Dark Enlightenment was awful to read. It was painful to read.
Now this is all cope, man. Like it's man, I used to be so great and now I suck. So I'm gonna say I sucked before and I'm actually great now. Yeah.
I don't think anyone takes him seriously. I mean, I mean, I know a few actual neo-reactionaries, but they're the worst kind of people in the worst kind of way. And it's a pity that this is what this man's intellectual legacy is going to be like. You're going to have the cool, weird drugged out stuff, and then you're going to have this basement dwelling, hyper racist sitting somewhere in Shanghai under the being owned by the CCP or something like that. You know, it's sad.
And you know, it's maybe it'd be helpful for people who haven't, you know, read a whole lot of Land, but in addition to Camp Capital and the prohibition of incest, I would say that like the trifecta of like really good papers by him, not including Meltdown, because that's just like a fun story essentially, but
it's fiction.
Right. And it's all a little, you know, theory fiction thing, but would be Machinic Desire on top of that, and Shamanistic Nietzsche. I would say that three papers,
those are great.
What's your edition?
Making It with Death.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
it really unpacks his Deleuzean influences.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, what author can like most people think of where you can so easily just belt out like all of their great papers and like have to add new ones? I mean, I can do that with Lacan. I can do that with Deleuze, but like there aren't a whole lot of others off the top of my mind. He's like extremely valuable, or was.
He is. Was.
And but at the same time, like, you know, I come from, I'm not sure necessarily how a lot of other traditions do it, but most of my training was in like literature moving into philosophy and theory. But the way that we're always trained to write is that regardless of whether or not someone has died or changed, you always refer to them in the present tense.
In the present, as if they're still alive. Yeah, that's the same with me.
And you should, right? And so Nick Land, regardless of whether or not he's become a racist idiot, neo-reactionary, whatever the fuck he is, Nick Land is still valuable. You know, you have to cope with it. You have to deal with it. He's extremely.
How can you remedy his I guess his position now that he's been co-opted by these edgelords? Like, I don't know if you've been on, if anyone still goes on 4chan now, like on the literature board. Whenever they talk about Nick Land, it's either people absolutely love him or absolutely hate him, and both positions kind of suck, because on the one hand he's a weird schizo guy, and then the other hand he's like a weird cyber libertarian. How do you remedy that in your academic writing? Because I, embarrassingly enough, still reference him in my academic work to some extent.
He's in my thesis. Yeah.
Is he? Well, same. Yeah.
There you go. Cheers to us. We're daring, sexy people.
How do you
this would be a good discussion here. You two.
Yeah. Cheers. How do you cope with that in your writing? Like, well, I had to explain to my thesis supervisor, don't Google this guy, just trust me for it. Take my word for it.
Yeah, I mean, all I did with my thesis was just I put in a footnote saying this man has gone off the rails in recent years, but it's extremely important if we want to be honest with ourselves and, you know, with the academy at large, that we need to consider his earlier work, and that it is extremely important, and that you kind of have to in some situations, because I did my graduate work at University of Chicago, which is an extremely they have rules. They have a lot of fucking rules, but most of them are unstated, right? And so you kind of have to do a lot of maneuvering and arguing with like advisors and stuff in order to get anything done to some degree. But the trap that I always kind of used was that you either have to admit that this person is in some way useful, and that at least useful enough to be written about, or you are in some way acknowledging that they are able to work outside of the academy in a way that we're not able to engage with. And the academy is supposed to be able to engage with everything. Like, either I'm allowed to touch on him, or outside academics are justified and valid and should exist, or maybe leading towards like greater importance than the academy itself, which is genuinely in some ways very much true. but you know, like, you need to invite him in by disallowing, you know, him. We're just giving him like greater legitimacy. It's which either way he wins.
It helps to sneak him in alongside Deleuze and Guattari.
Exactly. No, that's kind of what I did, because the main work of his that I was using was Machinic Desire, And so when I did sneak him in, of course I did like that footnote, like I said, but I also snuck him in and is just like, this is the way that he describes the circuitries that lead to these feedback loops. And it's like, okay, well, we see him saying this discrete thing, which is very valuable as a definition, if not like a little obscurantistic, but still like valid and useful. And then we can get into his like more maddening shamanistic Nietzsche kind of stuff, where it's like a deepening on knowing is the only use of philosophy kind of thing. Yeah.
Or you could go fully abstract and like rip off of hypervirus, like all those mashing numbers and stuff like that.
Dude, that's the cringiest. I love it and I hate it. That essay drives me crazy.
Especially when, like, I don't understand what's happening, right?
Yeah,
it's dizzying.
Yeah, and every time I'm like, hey, you should read, these essays. So you might as well pick up Feng Noumena. But also, by the way, guys, if you're afraid of reading, all of it is available audio on YouTube. There's a robot voice that reads it. Perfect way to have it read, even though it like mispronounces half the words. But it's available for you if you just want to experience the stuff. Let it flow over you.
Yeah, what's the deal with that audiobooks and shit, man? I was like, man, this is horseshit. Like, this is not reading. I don't know, man. I was just always like, this is not fucking reading. Reading is sitting down.
No, they're totally different. Yeah.
And fucking and looking at the damn thing and reading it over fucking even, like.
Yeah. My general
unless audiobooks would be good for fiction, I would say.
That's true. No, yeah, they are a lot better for fiction in my mind.
I highly disagree. Disagree. Coming from because like there's some text that you. Yeah, because I'm reading Ulysses right now. So like, nice. Just imagine hearing that in an audiobook. It's not the same. I feel like I'm a bit of a snob in that sense.
I mean, I think you're definitely right about like Ulysses. Like that needs to be on the page.
On the page, same thing as well.
Like Gravity's Rainbow, all that. So much more epic in your mind. I would guess.
But
I guess that's kind of ableist, like, hey, what's wrong with audiobooks? You're being ableist. Some people like have.
I mean, I also
handicaps
love
and stuff like
weightlifting, but some people don't have legs. Like, like it's not everyone can do everything, but I'm allowed to like what I like.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if you have the option, okay, then this is what we're talking about. The people that have the option, like, like, okay, fucking
right. But I have a general rule, and this is how I kind of teach people as well to read through these texts when they're not used to it, is that the really important reading is the second reading, right? So on the first reading, I'm actually very open to people using audiobooks for the first reading of something if they want to, or otherwise just kind of rushing through it in a way, so long as they're promising themselves they will give it a careful reading on the second round, right? But because that first reading allows you to pick up a lot of the like most basic elements, and it allows you to just get it done. Because one of the things that really paralyzes people with theory, I don't necessarily feel this way about fiction. You should just experience the fiction or poetry or anything like that. But with theory, one of the things that stops people from finishing things is they read 2 pages and they're like, fuck, I can't do it. Or like, I'm bored, or I need to get some coffee or something, and then they never get back to it. And they read those first 2 pages again and again. Or they like read 2 pages, skip forward, read 2 more pages, and like everything's incoherent. And so the first reading, I generally advise people to just, even if you don't understand what the fuck is happening, just keep reading. Things will click more and more into place and finish the text. And then in the second reading, that's when you do the real work. But I remember, so I like audiobooks for that.
Yeah, I tried tackling this Slavoj book. I think it was a Sublime Object of Ideology, and I think I just like sat at the introduction, like read the first like 5 pages over and over again for like months.
Right.
Just like, no, fuck this. Like, like nope.
But the great thing about reading Zizek, though, is that once you've read one of his books, you've read all of his books.
Okay, exactly. Ouch. Yeah.
Ouch.
They're all the same. Well, he even admits this himself. He admits this himself. He says, you know what? Yeah, like that's a good point. Like I'm struggling with the same fucking question every fucking, or some of the same problems every book. Like the world hasn't changed. I'm still fucking dealing with the same shit. Like,
gotta hurt.
Yeah. Sorry to slice you off.
You think you can get him on the pod? That would be pretty cool.
Well, you know, he came on my friend Angie Speaks pod.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's funny.
I saw a clip on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, she has his connection, because she even talks about, like, okay, she told me to take this out on the last pod, but we ended up not taking it out. But she was like, okay, here, I'll tell you how I got my Slavoj connection, but you have to edit this out. I ended up not, like, the first 10 minutes of the podcast, like, people are listening to fucking. But anyway, fucking
love it. You know who I hear is
I thought she would have really
sorry.
like, but yeah, I don't think she cares, but yeah, fucking, oh yeah, she was saying that she got her connection through Doug Lane, Zero Books.
Oh yeah.
And
wow.
you know, she's not friends with him anymore because that guy sucks.
Hello, Zero Books readers.
Yo. I could probably get Doug Lane on. I'll probably get Doug Lane on and just like really, really beg him and just like, yo, please give us the Slavoj email. We'll just ask Angie. We'll just ask Angie. Just be like, yo, give us the Slavoj email. I think she got his email or some shit. Boom.
Just do that.
Email Chomsky as well. See if you can get him on.
You know who I hear is actually like weirdly available, and it would also be hilarious because of all the theorygram drama. Is Benjamin Bratton. Like, I think you could definitely get him on.
Okay, so I just had on Elena Lang. And the first half of the podcast, she's just talking shit about that guy. So, because like I have her on, I'm just like, okay, yeah, just talk about whatever you want to talk about, you know, like whatever, you know, like, and she kind of just talking about fucking, yeah, this guy the whole, like, not like, I don't know, she was really talking shit on him for a lot of it. So, and I barely know who the guy is, but
yeah,
he wrote the stack. He wrote the stack and the new normal. Those 2 books. That's what I know him from.
Right.
Are you guys fans?
I've never read any of his stuff, so no.
Every time that he gets brought up to me, though, it's in disagreement with something that I've said. So I feel like I
think
probably
that's probably a good,
right.
But he's like one of those PhD academics who like start Twitter beefs with you, and
right.
You know.
And he did that Agamben piece where he's like shitting on. He's just kind of I don't know, read it, but he's like trying to attack Agamben about a lot of this like vax stuff and like biopolitics, and it's like, damn, dude, like I agree with some of what you're saying, but he keeps shitting himself. I don't know, read it. But it sucks because like I want to like him because he's actually local to me, and I'm like, oh man, it would be cool to like have a coffee with an academic.
Doesn't he teach it at Berkeley, right?
No, he teaches at UCSD, I think. Yeah, I did my undergrad at Berkeley, but I'm down in San Diego now. But I mean, that's the last I checked, is that he was around here. But it would be cool. But apparently, he and I disagree on everything because I hate computer. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what I believe it's something about, you know, fucking he's into like, you know, like enforcing more COVID regulations and more like control.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of it for sure. And like, I'm kind of, I don't know, my views on this are a little bit, a lot of theorygrammers going to disagree with me, but I'm also pretty soft on a lot of my opinions on this stuff. I am in favor of a lot of these like increased regulations and like vaccines and things like that. I am in fact in favor of them.
So you're into goddamn motherfucking Deleuze and Atari, and society's in control, and you're telling me that you're pro-vaccines.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah. And I'm sorry to say it, but the only reason, and like I said, I'm soft on it, so like I'm pretty willing to like flex a bit, and like, you know, give this whole thing where it's like treat it like any other vaccine, where it's like you're allowed to write some kind of exception or something, whatever. But I dated a biochemist for 7 years. God. So my paranoia of fucking genetics, is just, it fucking freaks the it's a nightmare for me. And
I feel like we're on
Yeah, just seeing how viruses, how they mutate over time, and they're like, just the way that these things change and shift. It's like, I mean, this could be a thing that is never really a problem, or we could really let it get worse and becomes catastrophic somewhere. And you just don't know. You never know. And I'd rather not have to worry about it. But
you got the vax, I'm assuming.
What's that?
You got the vax.
Yeah. I actually got COVID really early in this, and it was a pretty bad case. Like, I didn't have to go to the hospital, thankfully, but I probably should have. Like, I was like laying there, barely able to breathe. It was very cool and fun. It actually happened to me on April 1st, so it was like a really cool April Fool's prank on myself.
Oh yeah, guys, it's 9/11 today.
Hell yeah! God bless. Never forget. I totally forgot. But yeah, and so I got COVID, but I still got the vaccine in the end. But yeah, dude, that second shot beat the shit out of me. Yeah. I mean, tell me you people's takes. I want to hear it.
I recently got my first Pfizer. I'm just waiting to see if I'll develop breast tissue. But
yeah, I was really like hoping I'd get one of those blood clots, but
honestly, just like standing in front of the mirror. Yeah, I got some tits. I can be part of the girls now. But so far, no tits. So that's kind of a letdown. And I just think like I haven't had COVID, so I guess I'm lucky on that part. But I'm pretty much a shut-in. So I'm getting my second Pfizer jab next month, I think. I'm a bit behind, but I really have no strong opinions on this. I'm with you on that, actually. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I guess my opinions might be. I wouldn't characterize them as that strong either, but they might be a little stronger than your guys's.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay. Here's the thing.
Worried about an expanding like state of exception and stuff like that, or
you said what?
You worried about like an advanced state of exception, like government control and stuff, or?
Well, okay, it's more like, so one of the reasons why I started really getting back into reading Deleuze and Guattari and shit was because of this COVID shit, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so so think about this. With this COVID shit going down, and then when they put so they send the kids home with laptops. In every single household, there's a fucking government's fucking laptop in all these households that has a goddamn microphone and a goddamn camera on it.
Right.
These laptops that are sending. So I'm thinking about mass surveillance. I'm thinking about societies of control type shit.
Right.
That's their ideas. Fucking societies of control. They based it off Foucault's idea of like disciplinary society. Right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's right, because like right now, there's no kind of like, I don't know, for a lot of people, there's no distinction between school, work, and home. I know for me personally, I have no distinction whatsoever between these I guess these spaces, these societal spaces.
Yeah. But
I can definitely understand
what
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Honestly, there's no escape. Like. Yeah. The overlords are always watching over you.
This is what I think about deterritorialization and shit, and like everything in life colliding into fucking this neoliberal fucking cultures are dissolving. Fucking the way our distinctions between fucking work and home, school and home.
I mean, yeah, that's what Guattari called the age of planetary computerization, integrated world capitalism. These networks these intercommunicative networks where you're unable, I know in postscripts Deleuze referred to it as becoming an individual, being reduced to like numbers, and your entire identities are divided down into these little data banks and stuff. Right. So if you're worried about it, well, it's good to be worried about it, I guess, but like it's already happening, and we're yet to escape it.
Yeah, that's very much kind of how I feel, is that like one of the reasons that actually this kind of brings everything full circle in a way, but the whole metaphysics and everything around Deleuze and Guattari, and it makes it so that their work, I feel, though it has some prescription inside of it, it is more descriptive than prescriptive. And in the sense that it is describing the world that we live in. And I am both something of a determinist, and something that happens with determinists quite a lot is I am a type of accelerationist. And I'm not going to get too deep into that right now because we have like 15 minutes. But I am not convinced that there is much to be done. Though I think that also like rebelling against it is great. But I don't know that there's much to be done. But I also don't think that the government or capital, more importantly, needs laptops in your home to do the type of surveillance and control that would bring them.
Honestly, yeah,
you know?
no.
I think we're already
dude. Honestly, well, here's the thing. It's kind of like, okay, when you start thinking about Matrix, crazy Matrix shit, okay, like it's kind of so complex, whatever. But when you start breaking it down to brass tacks shit like that, like, okay, how would the government actually like listen in on people, and how would they actually physically put these fucking microphones in there? It's not like this magic or whatever, you know. If you actually break it down to, you know, fuck yeah, they might fucking be listening to all these fucking laptops that they give you for work. Because, you know, I'm always fucking, I'll be over at my friend's house or whatever, and I'm like, you know, like they be having like their fucking school or their work laptop, and I'm just like, that motherfucker is probably watching you have sex and shit.
What I think is significantly more likely,
they're gonna blackmail you at some point.
Right. I mean, so if my and not that this stuff is impossible or that it doesn't happen, because it does, and it is possible.
I think there's literal proof that it's happening all the time. They're selling your data and shit like that.
Oh yeah, they're definitely selling your data, your metadata.
And they're open about it. This is public information.
Yeah. But I think that the way that they rely on more so, because it is more effective ultimately, is that we constantly tell on ourselves, right? That's the more effective way of doing this. And then additionally, it's, you know, I don't think we have enough governmental power for something like that to matter much, right? So if I bring in, and I mean, not that the government isn't powerful, but if you look at that Yarvin and what's his fuck Tucker interview, if you look at that, one of the most cogent and important points, and maybe the only one, but the most important thing that they bring up over and over again is that the government is so extraordinarily weak, especially the executive branch is so extraordinarily weak versus other things which are checking it. And I'm not just talking about like the, you know, Congress or anything like that. I'm talking more about capital.
The greater forces of capital.
Yeah. Where like really the executive branch is becoming like the Queen of England, right? Where it can just do all these things, right? But it's transitioning more and more into being just a figurehead, and it still has power, but that power is dissolving more and more. Like especially if you compare it to like, you know, presidents in the early 20th century, anything like that, right? And how the entire government is kind of moving in that direction. And so I'm not so much concerned about a lot of government surveillance or things like that, though I, again, do acknowledge that it is a problem and something to be concerned about, again, as someone that's some form of anarchist myself. But that really the things that we need to be more concerned about are, again, things that we can't do much about. They're things like technology and the way that concrete kind of pours around us in the form of things like algorithms. And I think that the real control mechanisms and things we really need to be the most concerned about are the things we're not even doing on purpose, right? We're doing these things in order to, you know, scrape a little bit of money off of things or like collect data so you can sell it. Like my job, I'm not going to say what it is, but I deal with a huge amount of, you know, people's information, which my company buys, right? And they just buy it because they can, you know. You can buy anyone's information. It's just there. And then the people that
it's
buy
the highest
sell
bidder. The highest bidder.
Exactly. Or the lowest bidder. Just sell it to everyone. Just sell everyone's, and it gets resold and resold and resold. And like I get spam, like this is karma, but I get spam calls like twice an hour, you know, because everyone has my information. And this isn't because of like a secret cabal or because anyone's watching you. It's because you're constantly telling on yourself. Like I gave my phone number to the grocery store, and now everyone has it because I wanted $2 off of steak.
Become reducible to like data and metadata. And these control is. You are powerless against these wider forces that that break you down and repackage you and sell you and resell you and constantly. And it's like it's purgatory. It's like hell is not other people. I guess hell is us. You know, and the data that we
the data.
Give away.
Hell is data.
Hell is data. I love it.
Hell is data.
Communication data.
Again, though, like just to say, I do believe in vaccine exceptions. I think that that's something that is, if not legitimate, at least has the affect and regime of legitimacy. And so I'm cool.
I mean, are you guys not on your Alex Jones shit? You know, I think Alex Jones is a delusion.
In some ways, yes. In some ways, I'm very much on my Alex Jones shit. But yeah, one of the frogs, those poor frogs.
You know that shit was real.
It was real in a way, yeah. It caused hermaphroditism inside of these frogs. And
there was
like
real
more and more female frogs or like agendered frogs. Yeah, it was this bizarre thing. But yeah, so I mean, I'm very much a conspiracy theorist in a lot of ways, but I'm a conspiracy theorist in a way that's even more hopeless, right?
Black pill.
Have you guys seen the movie Cube?
No.
Oh, The Cube, yes. Yeah.
Cube is one of my favorite movies, but there's this portion of it, and maybe this is a good way for like me to start like rounding things out because I have to teach here in a bit. But they're arguing about why they're all stuck inside of this giant prison of cubes full of traps that kill people.
It's like an alien thing that like they're in or some shit.
And they're wondering like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? And one person's like, it's obviously the government, and one person's like, it's aliens and stuff like that. Yeah. And then one guy just walks up and says, no, this is a headless blunder. And all that happened with this, and I agree with his take, honestly, and I think that that's what's happening with the world itself, where everyone builds a little part of something, and they conveniently fit together. And so over time, because everyone's just doing their little jobs, waking up, going to their little office, building their little part of an algorithm that makes things more efficient, eventually all this stuff comes together into one giant mechanism, and that's the thing that ruins everything. And we're already there, right? And it's just because it's a headless blunder. There's no conspiracy, and that's what makes it scarier, is that it's just us doing us. It's us building our own trap because we are a bootlegger for that trap. I
mean, at least we're having fun doing it. I mean,
hell yeah,
I
see butts on Instagram all day.
Honestly, right? Like you get to see a spare titty or two, and like, fuck yeah, take my date as long as I can have one peek of your titties, ma'am. Just one.
Yeah,
peek.
I mean, it makes it all worth it. All the haters.
That's what I always tell antinatalists, where it's just like, yeah, I know life is bad, but have you ever had sushi while getting head? Because if you've done that, like, life is worth it. Like
smoking a joint.
Every bit of suffering I've ever every bit of suffering I've ever experienced, worth it in that moment.
It's a very poignant existential question, I guess, you know.
Yeah, as much as I talk shit on existentialists, I ultimately agree with them, I guess.
I mean, I feel like you could rewrite the myth of Sisyphus, but like with that sushi and head.
Sushi, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Instead of pushing up a boulder, what makes life worth living? Getting your member fellatio with sushi, you know.
Yes.
Hopefully she doesn't have sushi in her mouth. It's wasabi in your pee hole or some shit. Oh,
I'll try anything twice, man.
I'll try anything twice.
I'm a battalion. Actually, that's another funny thing, like because always more to talk about. But I need to tell everyone, I love Deleuze. I really do. But this is the second name that this account has had, and I just stuck with it because it stuck. It used to be something like the meme mimesis or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. And I named it Dank Deleuze because I read Dark Deleuze and I thought it sucked so bad that I needed to make my handle a parody of it. And I was planning for it to be a parody for like a day, and people would be like, oh, that's funny. No one got the joke because also people don't get like the Darko Subin joke. But it just kind of stuck. And now I'm the Deleuze guy. And like, I really kind of am. Like, I love Deleuze. But, he's tied with a lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I had Fred Hampton as my profile picture. Like,
right.
It kind of...
Is he your favorite forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, probably not, but up there,
Yeah.
Yeah, go read some Bataille.
Well, yeah, fucking if you guys want to plug some shit you guys are working on or anything, we'll put everything in the description no matter what, but if you guys want to plug anything, go ahead. We can wrap up.
Arthur, you got anything?
Do I got anything?
Yeah.
I just want all the shout out to all the esoteric girl bloggers who follow me.
Hell yes.
Even though I don't know what else to do, I'm writing a book. It's going to be very terrible.
What's it about?
And I hope to. I don't fucking know. It's part of.
It's a good sign, actually.
But yeah, that's all I'm doing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. That's it on my end, I think.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's all you need, honestly. So I got a couple things going on. I've got you should check out my podcast that I co-host. It's more politics oriented than anything. It is Benzo Rehab Dungeon. Check us out everywhere.
That is dope as fuck.
It's dope.
We talk a lot of shit on Jordan Peterson. We shit on Biden a lot. We shit on everyone a lot. We don't seem to like anyone.
And Xanax fucking heads.
Just bars. You want to make
you got to send me that shit, you got to send me the links to all that shit.
Hell yeah, I will.
So I get checked that, and we'll put it in the description for everyone too. So
beautiful. So Benzo Rehab Dungeon podcast. We come out with a new one every week. Also, the most recent podcast. Actually, let me shout out two of my friends.
Podcast, drug.
Yeah,
podcast. Yeah.
Check out Bringing Down the Grindhouse. I've worked with them a bit, talking about all sorts of stuff. They do horror movies, and I talk about a lot of literature and stuff with them. Check out Schizotopia for more conspiracy-related stuff, and I've talked about a lot of the ties there.
Schizotopia.
Yeah, awesome guy. He's great. And my workshop. It happens every Saturday at 11 a.m. PST. It is Truncata, Truncata, on Patreon. We talk about literature. We have all sorts of different kind of artists joining us. We talk about philosophy, and it's a really amazing group. And you can either pay for that and have the money go towards ultimately us publishing something, or you can come in for free and be a freeloader. But that's fine because I love you.
Freeloader. Okay, nice. I'm gonna fucking stop the